All right, so let's talk bankruptcy.
Okay.
Most people think it's only for those who are completely broke, like, living in a cardboard box.
Right.
But in Chapter 25 of his book, The Complete Book on Bankruptcy, Peter Francis Juracy of Juracy Law argues that that's not the whole story.
Interesting.
He actually says that most of his clients are middle class.
Wow.
Yeah, so today we're going to explore that surprising idea and learn who bankruptcy can truly help,
Okay.
and who might need to consider some other options.
Makes sense.
And of course, before we go any further, we want to remind you that this is for individual purposes only and not legal advice.
Right.
Now, I was really surprised when Juracy said that most of his clients aren't, struggling to afford basic necessities. They
Yeah.
actually have decent incomes.
Huh.
How does that even work?
Well, it boils down to what bankruptcy actually addresses, which is debt.
Okay,
It's not about income.
right.
It's entirely possible for someone to be making a decent living, but still be completely overwhelmed by like medical bills or credit card debt or, other financial burdens. Bankruptcy can help eliminate those debts and give those folks a fresh start.
So it's like hitting the reset button on your finances, but
Exactly.
it doesn't magically boost your income.
Right.
That means that if you're already having trouble, paying for basic necessities like rent or groceries,
Mm-hmm.
before you even factor in your debt,
Yeah.
bankruptcy alone isn't going to be the answer.
You got it.
So that's where Juracy's too poor to go bankrupt idea comes in.
Interesting.
If your problem is a lack of income, simply erasing your debt won't solve the underlying problem.
Right.
You might need to look into options like job training
Yeah.
or government assistance programs or credit counseling to really address those fundamental financial challenges.
Absolutely.
That's a really interesting point.
Thanks.
So let's dig into some specific situations where bankruptcy might fall short as a solution.
Yeah.
Juracy outlines 4 main areas where people often have misconceptions about what bankruptcy can do.
Gotcha.
First up is the issue of insufficient income.
Okay.
It seems pretty straightforward, but why does this matter so much in the context of bankruptcy?
Well, it's crucial to remember that bankruptcy doesn't create income.
Okay?
It provides relief from debt, but it doesn't put more money in your pocket.
Right.
If you're already struggling to cover your basic needs, eliminating debt might provide some breathing room,
Sure.
but it won't address the root cause of your financial strain.
Makes sense. You still need a plan to increase your income or cut expenses to truly get back on solid financial footing.
Exactly.
Okay, the next area Juracy tackles is student loans.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge issue for so many people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of confusion about whether bankruptcy can help with those massive debts. So
Right.
can it?
Well, this is where things get tricky.
Okay.
Discharging student loans through bankruptcy is incredibly difficult due to federal law.
I see.
You have to prove undue hardship,
Okay.
which essentially means demonstrating that you can't even afford basic necessities if you're forced to repay the loan.
Wow, that sounds like an incredibly high bar to clear.
Yeah,
Is it even possible for most people to meet that standard?
it's extremely difficult.
Really?
The courts have set a very strict definition of undue hardship,
Okay.
and it's pretty hard to meet.
So there are no cases where people have actually done this?
There are a few cases where people have succeeded, like if they have a permanent disability that prevents them from working,
Okay.
or if they've made a good faith effort to repay the loans, but their circumstances have taken a drastic turn for the worse.
Gotcha.
But for the average person struggling with student loans,
Yeah.
it's important to understand that bankruptcy probably won't be the solution.
So what options do people have if they're stuck with student loans they can't afford?
Mm-hmm.
And bankruptcy isn't a viable path?
Thankfully, there are alternatives.
Okay.
There are things like income-driven repayment plans, also called IDRs, that can adjust your monthly payments based on your income and family size.
Okay.
That can make those payments a lot more manageable. And in certain circumstances, you might be able to defer or forbear your loans for a period of time,
Okay.
which gives you some temporary relief.
So while it's certainly not a walk in the park, there are ways to manage those student loans and work towards a better financial future.
Exactly.
It's reassuring to know that there are other paths to explore, even if bankruptcy isn't on the table.
Absolutely.
Now, the third point Juracy brings up is the issue of non-dischargeable debts,
Okay.
particularly child support and alimony.
Right.
These are obviously serious obligations with a lot of legal weight behind them.
Absolutely. These types of debts are considered top priority by the courts,
Mm-hmm.
and bankruptcy won't wipe them away.
So Chapter 7 Bankruptcy, which focuses on eliminating certain unsecured debts,
Right.
doesn't apply to these obligations.
That's not.
However, Chapter 13 Bankruptcy can potentially help you manage these debts.
Yes.
I'm curious, how does Chapter 13 work in a situation like that?
A Chapter 13 bankruptcy allows you to propose a repayment plan to the court. This plan would let you catch up on any missed payments over a set period of time, usually 3 to 5 years.
Gotcha.
This can be a great option for folks who have fallen behind,
Right.
but are now in a position to get back on track.
Yeah.
Additionally, filing for Chapter 13 can help protect you from things like wage garnishment,
Oh, okay.
which can provide some much-needed relief.
So it's not about eliminating the debt entirely. It's about getting you back on a manageable payment schedule.
Exactly.
So even in situations with these non-dischargeable debts, there might be some relief available through a different approach.
You got it.
Finally, Juracy addresses a big misconception about secured debts,
Okay.
like car loans and mortgages.
Right.
A lot of people seem to believe that filing for bankruptcy allows them to keep everything, even if they're behind on payments.
I've heard that.
Is there any truth to that?
Unfortunately, that's a very common myth.
Oh.
While bankruptcy can discharge your personal liability for secured debts,
Okay.
it doesn't mean you automatically get to keep the asset.
I see.
The lender still retains the right to repossess your car or foreclose on your house if you stop making payments.
So even if you file for bankruptcy and wipe out your debt,
Yeah,
you could still lose your house or car if you're not able to make those payments.
that's exactly right. Bankruptcy doesn't change the terms of your loan agreement.
Okay.
It simply eliminates your personal responsibility for the debt.
Okay.
The lender still has the right to take back the collateral if you default on the loan.
So if someone is way behind on their mortgage and can't see a way to catch up, filing for bankruptcy isn't going to magically save their home.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
In those cases, you'd need to explore other options, like negotiating a loan modification with your lender,
Okay.
pursuing a short sale, or even surrendering the property to avoid a lengthy and costly foreclosure process.
Gotcha. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Chapter 13 seems to come up a lot as a potential solution in these trickier situations where bankruptcy doesn't offer a complete solution.
You're absolutely right. Chapter 13 is all about creating a structured repayment plan that you can manage, which can be extremely helpful when dealing with secured debts, catching up on missed payments, or dealing with certain types of non-dischargeable debts.
Yeah.
But there's a big caveat.
What's that?
You need a stable income to make it work.
That makes perfect sense. Without a reliable source of income, it would be pretty difficult to stick to any kind of repayment plan.
Right.
Speaking of which, Juracy includes a great story in his book about a woman named Kimberly.
Okay.
She was stuck in a classic car loan trap, had student loans looming over her head, and was drowning in other debts.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell us a bit about her situation and how Juracy law helped her out?
Sure. Kimberly's story really illustrates how powerful Chapter 13 can be when used correctly.
Okay.
She desperately needed her car to get to work,
Yeah.
but was struggling to make the payments because she owed more on the loan than the car was actually worth.
Oh, no.
On top of that, she had student loans and other debts piling up.
So what did they do?
Juracy Law filed a Chapter 13 plan on her behalf,
Okay.
which allowed her to keep her car while drastically reducing the amount she owed.
How did they do that?
They achieved this by essentially restructuring her car loan so she only had to pay the fair market value of the car,
Wow.
and they even got her a lower interest rate.
Wow, that's a great outcome. She got to keep her car and significantly reduce her debt burden.
Yeah, it was a great result.
But you mentioned earlier that a steady income is crucial for Chapter 13 to be successful. Was that a factor in Kimberly's case?
Absolutely. Her plan worked because she had a stable job
Okay.
and could demonstrate to the court that she could afford to make those restructured payments. If she hadn't had that reliable income, Chapter 13 wouldn't have been an option.
Right.
It's a critical piece of the puzzle because the whole idea is to create a repayment plan that works for both you and your creditors.
That's a great point. It highlights the fact that bankruptcy isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person might not be suitable for another.
Right.
But in Kimberly's case, with a steady income and a well-structured plan, it sounds like Chapter 13 was a total game changer.
It really was.
Her story makes me wonder how many other people are out there struggling with debt, unaware of these options.
I know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to talk to an expert
Okay.
who can look at your individual circumstances and help you figure out the best course of action.
Mm-hmm.
It might be bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It might be other debt management strategies, or it might be a combination of approaches.
Okay.
But having someone to guide you through the process can make all the difference.
You know, in his book, Juracy does a great job of breaking down the situations where bankruptcy can be a lifeline
Yeah.
and those where it might not be the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
He has these two really helpful lists.
Okay.
One is titled, Bankruptcy Can Help If,
Gotcha.
and the other is, Bankruptcy Won't Solve.
Okay.
I think these lists could be really valuable for our listeners.
Yeah, they are.
So let's walk through them and unpack those different scenarios.
Sounds good.
Starting with the Can Help If list.
Okay.
The first item is pretty obvious.
What is it?
unmanageable credit card debt, or medical bills.
Right.
It's a classic case for seeking bankruptcy relief, right?
You're absolutely right. If those kinds of debts have become overwhelming
Yeah.
and you just can't see a way out,
hmm
bankruptcy provides a legal path to hit the reset button and start fresh.
The next item on the list is facing wage garnishment from creditors. That sounds pretty scary.
It can be quite frightening and incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Wage garnishment occurs when a creditor gets a court order to take a portion of your paycheck directly to repay a debt.
Wow.
It can significantly impact your ability to make ends meet and manage your finances.
Yeah.
Fortunately, bankruptcy can stop that process in its tracks,
Oh, wow.
giving you some much-needed breathing room.
That's a huge relief. Okay, the next item seems familiar. It says, behind on car or mortgage payments, but have enough income to catch up.
Right.
That sounds a lot like the situation Kimberly was in.
Yes, it does. And just like in Kimberly's case,
Yeah.
Chapter 13 can be a great solution for these types of situations.
Okay.
It allows you to restructure those payments, get back on track, and avoid the devastating consequences of losing your car or home.
But as we discussed earlier, having a stable income is essential to make Chapter 13 work successfully.
You got it.
It all comes back to that steady income that seems to be the key ingredient for a lot of these successful bankruptcy scenarios.
I agree.
The last item on Juracy's can help if list is multiple debts and need a fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it could cover a wide range of situations.
It definitely does. Sometimes it's not just one massive debt that's the problem,
Right.
but rather a collection of smaller debts that have accumulated over time
Okay,
and become unmanageable.
I see.
Bankruptcy can help consolidate those debts
Right.
and provide a structured path to becoming debt-free.
It's like hitting the reset button on your financial life and starting with a clean slate. All right, we've covered the scenarios where bankruptcy can be a powerful tool for positive change.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift gears and look at the other side of the coin.
Okay.
Let's explore Juracy's list of situations where bankruptcy might not be the answer.
Sounds good.
The first one, chronic low income that doesn't cover rent, utilities, and food.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that too poor to go bankrupt concept we discussed earlier.
It's absolutely connected.
Yeah.
It's essential to remember that bankruptcy doesn't magically create more income.
Right.
If you're already struggling to afford basic necessities before considering your debts,
Yeah.
simply eliminating those debts won't solve the fundamental problem.
Right.
You'll still be in a difficult financial situation even without those debts.
So even if you get rid of the debt, you're still left with the same underlying income problem.
Precisely in these cases, it's crucial to focus on addressing the root cause of the financial strain, not just the symptoms.
Right.
That might involve seeking job training to increase your earning potential,
Yeah.
exploring government assistance programs, or finding ways to reduce your expenses.
It's about taking a holistic approach to your finances rather than just putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Exactly.
The next item on the list is most student loans unless you meet the undue hardship test.
Right.
We touched on this earlier, but it's worth emphasizing again.
Absolutely. As we discussed, student loans are notoriously difficult to discharge through bankruptcy due to the stringent undue hardship standard.
Yeah.
It's not impossible,
Right.
but the bar is set incredibly high.
So it's more of a long shot than a viable solution for most people dealing with student loan debt.
That's a good way to put it. It's crucial to consider other options like those income-driven repayment plans or deferment before pinning your hopes on bankruptcy as a way to escape your student loans.
Moving on, the next item is child support or alimony payments. This one isn't very surprising given what we've already discussed.
You're right. As we've established, these obligations are non-dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
The courts place a high priority on these payments and are very strict about ensuring they are met. Bankruptcy won't provide any release from those obligations.
Okay, so that's pretty clear-cut. Lastly, we have secured debts, car loans, mortgages, unless you can afford payments.
Right.
This takes us back to Kimberly's story and that important distinction between discharging debt and retaining the asset.
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway for our listeners when it comes to these secured debts and bankruptcy?
The most important thing to remember is that bankruptcy doesn't magically allow you to keep things you can't afford.
Okay.
It can discharge your personal liability for the debt,
Yeah.
but it doesn't erase the lender's right to repossess or foreclose if you stop making payments.
So if you're underwater on your mortgage and can't afford to make the payments, filing for bankruptcy won't magically protect your home from foreclosure.
Exactly. In those cases, you'd need to consider alternative options, such as trying to negotiate a loan modification with your lender,
Okay.
pursuing a short sale to avoid foreclosure, or even surrendering the property to the lender.
It seems like the big takeaway here is that bankruptcy can be a powerful tool, but it's not a cure-all for every financial problem.
Absolutely.
It's essential to understand the limitations and know when it's the right solution and when other strategies might be more effective.
You nailed it. That's why it's so crucial to seek expert advice from a qualified attorney.
Right.
They can analyze your individual circumstances,
Okay.
help you understand your options, and
Mhm.
guide you toward the best path forward.
Speaking of experts, Juracy concludes the chapter with a section about his firm, Juracy Law.
Okay.
He talks about their experience, the sheer number of clients they've helped,
Yeah.
and even their unique slogan, nice people doing nice things for nice people.
That's a good one.
He even throws out some impressive numbers like over 50,000 five-star reviews,
Wow.
40 years in business,
That's a long time.
and over 900,000 people counseled. It's clear he's positioning Juracy Law as a leader in the field.
It's interesting how he combines all those statistics.
Yeah.
With a more personal approach by highlighting their slogan.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're trying to make what can be a very stressful and intimidating process feel more human and approachable.
Right. He also mentions their better credit, faster results claim.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about that.
Me too.
Yeah, let's dive into that and other aspects of Juracy Law in the next part of our exploration.
Sounds great.
We'll be right back to unpack those details.
Welcome back.
We're picking up right where we left off,
Okay.
digging a little deeper into Juracy Law.
All right.
The firm founded by our expert, Peter Francis Juracy.
Mm-hmm.
In his book, he makes some pretty bold statements about his firm
Oh, yeah.
and what sets them apart.
Okay.
He emphasizes their vast experience
Yeah.
and the sheer volume of clients they've helped over the years.
I see.
He really wants to drive home the point that they're experts in the field
Right.
and have a deep understanding of the complexities of bankruptcy.
Makes sense.
He talks about their commitment to making bankruptcy accessible and affordable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
He even highlights their slogan, nice people doing nice things for nice people,
Okay.
which seems to be a core part of their philosophy.
Interesting.
It's a very deliberate approach to try to make a process that could be intimidating and stressful feel more human and approachable.
Right.
He's trying to connect with people on an emotional level
Yeah.
and reassure them that they're in good hands.
I see.
He also mentioned a better credit, faster results claim,
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
which I found intriguing. Can you shed some light on what that means
Sure.
and how it's even possible to improve your credit after filing for bankruptcy?
Well, it might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but Juracy explains that many clients actually see their credit scores improve after bankruptcy.
Really?
It's because once that crushing debt is gone,
Okay.
their debt-to-income ratio improves dramatically,
Right.
which makes them look much better to lenders.
So it's like removing a huge weight from your financial shoulders.
Exactly.
It not only gives you breathing room,
Yeah.
but also makes you a big attractive borrower. That's a powerful message for anyone who's hesitant about filing for bankruptcy
Right.
because they're worried about the long-term impact on their credit.
Absolutely. And Juracy even suggests that this credit improvement can make it possible to qualify for a mortgage much sooner than people might expect.
Oh, wow.
He's trying to dispel the myth that bankruptcy permanently damages your credit
Okay.
and show that it can actually be a path toward a brighter financial future.
He also stresses that Juracy Law serves a wide range of clients with varying income levels.
Mm-hmm.
He says that whether you're making $30,000 or $130,000 a year,
Okay.
they have solutions tailored to your unique circumstances.
Interesting.
It's not just for the destitute, as some people might believe.
Right. He wants to make it clear that bankruptcy is a tool that can benefit people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Not just those who are struggling to afford basic necessities.
That-
He emphasizes that they have experience helping people from various income levels and backgrounds
Okay.
navigate the complexities of bankruptcy and find the best solution for their specific needs.
And of course, he highlights their free consultation,
Oh, right.
which is a smart move. It gives potential clients the opportunity to sit down with an expert
Yeah.
for an hour, get personalized advice,
Mm-hmm.
and explore their options without any pressure or obligation.
That's great.
It seems like a great way to address any anxieties people might have about the process.
It's a way to demystify bankruptcy and empower individuals to make informed decisions about their financial future.
Right.
By offering a free consultation, Juracy is sending a message that he and his team are there to support and guide people through this process, not to pressure them into making a decision they're not comfortable with.
It's interesting to see how Juracy positions his firm within this larger conversation about bankruptcy.
Yeah,
He's not just explaining the legal aspects of the process.
right.
He's also making a case for why Juracy Law is the best choice for people seeking help.
He's crafting a narrative that combines expertise,
Yeah.
accessibility, and a client-centric approach.
Mm-hmm.
He wants potential clients to see Juracy Law as a firm that not only understands the law,
Right.
but also cares about the people they serve.
It's a compelling message, especially for those who are feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take to address their financial challenges.
Absolutely.
So we've built into Juracy's insights on bankruptcy,
Yeah.
explored various situations where it can be helpful or not,
Mm-hmm.
and examined how Juracy Law presents itself to potential clients.
Okay.
What's your overall impression of what we've learned so far?
It's clear that Juracy is passionate about helping people navigate the complex and often confusing world of debt and bankruptcy.
I agree.
He doesn't shy away from the tough realities,
Right.
but he also offers a sense of hope and a roadmap to achieving financial stability.
He's definitely a straight shooter.
Yeah.
But also know how to present his firm in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about the legal expertise.
Right.
It's also about building trust and making people feel comfortable seeking help for their financial troubles.
Absolutely. He's a skilled communicator
Yeah.
who seamlessly blends his legal knowledge with relatable anecdotes
Okay.
and a clear message about the value and support his firm provides.
And it's not just about bankruptcy itself.
Right.
He also emphasizes the importance of financial literacy
Yeah.
and understanding the bigger picture of managing your money effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Remember his too poor to go bankrupt concept.
Oh, yeah.
It really highlights the need to address the root causes of financial distress, like low income or poor spending habits,
Right.
not just the symptoms like mounting debt.
Exactly. It's a reminder that bankruptcy is just one tool in the toolbox when it comes to achieving financial wellness.
Yeah,
Sometimes the solution lies in increasing your income,
right.
creating a realistic budget, and making smarter choices about how you manage your money.
It's about taking control of your financial life,
Yeah.
understanding your options, and seeking guidance from experts when you need help getting back on track.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground in this exploration of bankruptcy.
Yeah, we have.
Delving into Juracy's approach and examining how Juracy law positions itself within the field.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more element Juracy mentions that I think is worth exploring.
Okay, what's that?
His commitment to providing educational resources to empower individuals.
Oh, yeah, he talks about offering a free credit counseling course
Right.
and even mentions having a podcast that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Considering we're having this conversation on a podcast right now.
I know, right?
It really shows that he's going beyond simply running a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
He's actively trying to reach a wider audience and provide them with valuable information about managing their finances.
Exactly. The free course, which is available at infotapes.com,
Okay.
covers topics like bankruptcy credit and debt management.
It seems like a great way to educate people before they even step foot in a lawyer's office.
It's all about empowering people with knowledge.
Yeah.
So they can make informed decisions about their financial well-being.
Right. And the fact that he also has a podcast
Yeah,
speaks volumes about his commitment to accessibility and outreach.
I think so too.
He's utilizing multiple channels to share his expertise and connect with people who might be struggling.
I agree.
It's clear that he's passionate about making these complex topics understandable and approachable for everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of their background or income level.
Hmm.
It aligns perfectly with his nice people doing nice things philosophy.
It does. It's a reminder that seeking help with your finances doesn't have to be intimidating or shameful.
Right.
There are resources available and experts like Peter Francis Juracy who are dedicated to guiding people towards a brighter financial future.
And I think that leads perfectly into the final part of our exploration. We'll be right back to wrap things up and offer some concluding thoughts for our listeners. And we are back.
Back for the final part of our conversation about bankruptcy.
It has been a fascinating journey exploring the myths, the realities, and the complexities of this powerful financial tool.
It has. We've learned so much from Peter Francis Juracy
Right.
and his book, The Complete Book on Bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's given us a lot to think about, both in terms of the legal process itself
Mm-hmm.
and the broader implications for financial well-being.
Absolutely. We've seen that bankruptcy can be a lifeline for some,
Yeah.
but it's not a universal solution for everyone facing financial hardship.
So as we wrap up this exploration,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners?
I'd say the key message is that bankruptcy is a powerful tool
Mhm.
with the potential to provide a fresh start.
Right.
But it's crucial to understand that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
That's a point worth emphasizing. It's not a magic wand that makes all your financial problems disappear.
Definitely not. It's essential to carefully consider your individual circumstances,
Okay.
your income, your debts, and your long-term financial goals before deciding if bankruptcy is the right path for you.
And we need to remember that bankruptcy is about more than just eliminating debt.
Absolutely. It's about finding the best path to achieve lasting financial stability.
Okay.
That might involve bankruptcy, other debt management strategies, or a combination of approaches.
Juracy's too poor to go bankrupt concept really stuck with me.
Yeah,
It highlights the fact that sometimes the root of the problem isn't just debt,
right.
but a lack of income or a need for better financial habits.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that we need to address those underlying issues,
Mhm.
not just the symptoms.
Right. Simply wiping away debt won't solve the problem if you're still struggling to make ends meet.
Nope.
So what's the answer for those individuals who find themselves in that too poor situation?
Right.
What options do they have if bankruptcy isn't a viable path?
It's crucial to explore alternative solutions, like seeking job training to enhance your earning potential,
Okay.
looking into government assistance programs to help bridge the gap,
Hmm.
or connecting with a credit counselor to develop a sustainable budget and debt management plan.
It's about being proactive and seeking guidance to create a solid foundation for long-term financial health.
You got it. And remember, there's no shame in asking for help.
Okay.
There are resources available,
Right.
and experts like Peter Francis Juracy who are dedicated to supporting individuals on their journey to financial well-being.
And let's not forget those valuable educational resources Juracy mentioned,
Yeah,
like his free credit counseling course and his podcast.
good point.
These resources can empower individuals with the knowledge they need to make informed decisions about their finances.
It's all about taking control, understanding your options, and making choices that align with your financial goals. And even if you're not currently considering bankruptcy, there are valuable lessons here for everyone.
Absolutely. Financial literacy is essential regardless of your income level or debt situation.
Couldn't agree more. It's about understanding how credit works, how to manage your money wisely, and how to plan for the future.
Hmm.
It's about making informed decisions that empower you to achieve your financial aspirations.
As we conclude our exploration of bankruptcy,
Woo!
let's leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
We've talked intensively about who bankruptcy can help,
Right.
but what about those who can't afford to pursue this path? What options and resources are available to support those individuals?
That's a crucial question
Yeah.
that challenges us to think beyond traditional solutions and consider the systemic factors that contribute to financial hardship.
Right.
It highlights the need for a multifaceted approach
Okay.
that involves education policy changes and community support.
It's a reminder that we need to address not just the symptoms of debt,
Right.
but the underlying causes of financial instability. It's a complex issue that requires our attention and action.
It really does.
So as we wrap up this episode, let's encourage our listeners to engage in this important conversation, to seek knowledge and support, and to advocate for a more equitable system that empowers everyone to thrive financially.
Great idea.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are resources available and people who genuinely care about helping you achieve financial well-being.
You got it.
That's it for this exploration. Thanks for joining us.